Bonjour, ciao, hola, aloha, shalom. Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the Review for View podcast. I'm your host, Avi. As always, it's the last episode of the year in The Crown Season 6. Part 2 dropped last week on Netflix, bringing an end to the phenomenal series, The Crown. It will always be just everything. I don't care what anybody has to say. The backlash that they've gotten over the years, it doesn't even matter. And guess what? We're diving right on in. Okay? So the season 6 part 2 picks up right after Diana's death. And you get to see the princes and how they deal with their mother's death, how they cope with it. And you see their grief play throughout the remaining episodes. Throughout the remaining episodes, you see their grief playing. So it's not just the first episode, but the first episode was really about after Diana, and it was really targeting William and Charles. But you see it throughout episodes. You see it throughout the episodes, and you see how it affects. It's not like it's like, oh, Diana died in the last episode before part 2, and then it's like, we're so sad, we're so sad. Like, no, that's not how it goes. It goes throughout the series. You see it, and I kind of like that because it's like you didn't forget about it, because Diana's death had a huge impact. Even years after she passed away, even now people still, so I like how they didn't just, Diana died, oh my god, they're sad, let's go on with the life. Like, they went on with the story, but in a logical way that was really, really good. But anyways, for the first episode, William, he takes his anger out on his dad. And it's sad that this event is untrue. However, I believe it to be true. Like, if somebody said this is absolutely 1000% true, I would believe it. Because it's the grieving process. Like, if you watched the episode, or if you haven't finished watching it yet, what are you doing listening to this podcast? Come on now. It was just like that. His mother was on that path because his dear papa treated her bad. And before y'all say anything, Diana and Charles cheated on each other throughout their marriage. You know what I mean? And I want that to be understood. Like, I'm not blaming Prince Charles. It's not completely his fault. You have to look at both parties, but I understand why people are Diana fans. You know what I mean? I feel like Diana, she lost the wee bit of herself after the divorce, because she really loved him for some strange reason. She never wanted the divorce. She wanted her marriage, her family to, what's the word? Prosper? Prosper sounds correct. She wanted that, but she didn't get that. And, in the end, people say Diana was unhappy. Some people say she was happy. In the end, Diana had these two beautiful boys, and she knew that they would grow up to be somebody great. However, look at them now. They don't even talk to each other. One still lives in the UK, and another lives in America. And he wants his privacy, guys, but please donate millions and millions of dollars. Like, come on. I'm sorry, but when people go in on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, like South Park did, and who else did it? South Park did it, and another cartoon comedy did it. And it's just like, but that's how they act. And it's so crazy because their little documentary that premiered on Netflix earlier this year was in the bottom. It was in the garbage. It was in the shitta, they like to say across the pond. And it really was. It was like, you're doing all this attention grabbing. They did the Oprah interview, and then it's like, we're gonna do a Netflix special as well. And on top of the Netflix special, we're gonna drop a book. Well, Harry dropped a book. You know what I mean? Then she had her podcast, and her podcast got tanked. She's obviously not a true podcaster. You know what I mean? You can't just think like, oh, I'm a celebrity, I'm gonna do a podcast. Some people could do that. She wasn't one of those people. Here I am, an amateur doing a podcast, and I'm doing a better job than her. Come on now. I've never listened to her podcast, and it probably was Burukaka. Anyways, you know what I mean? However, back to that first episode, it was nice how they portrayed Prince Philip. I think he had heart and compassion, especially towards William, his grandson, which you didn't really see early on in the series, especially like in the first half of the show, like in season 1, season 2. Young Prince Philip, he was seen as a harsh father to Charles, and just so loving and nice to Anne, and all this stuff. And it really shaped Charles into who he is and everything. And he really wanted to be this loving and doting dad. and that was nice. But I also loved how it shined a light on Prince Philip, especially if you've been watching the series since season one, and like seeing the journey that they've come down. And I love how for the second half of the season they had so many clips of all the other cast members from the decades before. It was just really nice. I've said it before, I'll say it again. The way The Crown is cast, you don't really see shows like that. And I think it was done in such a good manner, in a brilliant way. And the characters not only resemble their actor counterparts, but they resemble the person they're supposed to be portraying also. And I like that. I don't know about Prince Charles in the 5 and 6 season, but the rest of them, pretty much good. You know what I mean? A couple episodes down, you meet Kate Middleton and her mother. And let me just say, the way they portrayed Kate's mom as an eager mom who wanted her daughter to get it in with Prince William was just so freaking weird. Mothers can do and will do a lot of things for their kids if they believe that's right for them. But for her, I was immediately like, BFFR. If my mother ever did that, immediately no. Immediately no. I don't know the lengths my mother would go to. I don't want to know the lengths my mother would go to. I'm good. But if my mother ever did something like Kate's mom was doing, I would not. And I read something that said it actually is true that Kate's mother did want her to pursue Prince William. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a freaking prince, for crying out loud. It was the way they portrayed it that was weird. That's the part where I was just like, okay. Like, sure, yeah, that's okay. Um, oh my God, guys, this next part, Princess Margaret. I always knew it was coming, but I just didn't. I wasn't prepared for how it was gonna be. And before I even finished the show, of course, my idiot ass was on TikTok, and they're talking about The Crown. They're like, Princess Margaret episode was so sad, and I'm like, why are you spoiling it for me? Like, oh my God. And I finally watched it, and it made me cry for multiple reasons. And when I say cry, like, I'm not saying like tears are just going down my face, because it was like, damn, like that hit different. You know what I mean? Princess Margaret didn't get to live the life that she wanted to. She didn't get to marry the man she wanted to and have the family she dreamed of because of the lifestyle she had to live. She chose, however, to continue with that lifestyle because of her sister. She loved her sister, Queen Elizabeth, and she was by her side to the very, very, very end. I feel like the sibling relationship that the queen and the her sister have, is so special, so loving. And even from the first season to now, seeing the relationship that Elizabeth and Margaret have was just so meaningful. I feel like, I don't have they're sister relationships are different from sister brother and brother brother relationships, but it was still a sibling relationship, and you could still relate to it and feel like the love. And I, especially in this half of the season, the way the actors portrayed it, I was just in awe. You know what I mean? Watching the queen see her sister go through all these health issues killed me inside, because I would never want to see my own sibling or any member of my family go through that. The unfortunate truth is they are family, and sometimes you have to see your loved ones go through stuff that absolutely shatters your heart. Hell, me and my own family experienced that, just earlier this year. But the bond that was portrayed of Princess Margaret and Queen Elizabeth was an unbreakable bond. That was a sibling relationship, and I admired it so much. Princess Margaret I think she had 4 strokes, but she didn't have her first one the way they portrayed it. But she had 4 strokes, I believe, in her lifetime, and I think it's just so sad. I think it's so sad. And then the one where she scalded her feet, I was just so sad and everything. And I'm not gonna lie, I related to that girl when she was like, the doctor said I need to do physical therapy to get better. And it's like, she was just like, I'm old, guys. I'm not doing no physical therapy. If I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. I'm not doing no physical therapy. Anybody got time for that? And I would hate if my sibling said that, but I guess I could see where she's coming from. Like, hey, like, it's my time. You know what I mean? I gotta go. I gotta go my whole way. What about her? Let me stop. Let me stop. Had my High School Musical moment right there. It was sad. And I definitely feeled for Queen Elizabeth because she was doing, I forget which Jubilee it was. She I think that year she became the longest reigning monarch, like Queen Victoria. Like I think a year behind Queen Victoria. I can't remember. But she lost her mother. She lost her sister first, and then she lost her mother. And I was so sad. I was so sad. You know, Queen Elizabeth had her sister by her side for majority of her life, and she went 20 years without her. She also went 20 years without her mother until eventually she had to go home. She spent 1 year without her husband, and there's a moment in the series between Queen Elizabeth and Prince Charles where he says to his mom, "You always said you wouldn't have been able to do this job without him by your side." Oh my God. Oh my God, bring me a bucket because I'm about to feed Africa because I'm crying. I'm crying. I'm crying. I'm crying because it was just so sad. And it's like, I think they knew what they were doing with that as well because Queen Elizabeth has already been gone, unfortunately, for already a year. She passed away in 2022. It's 2023. And I just feel like that's so sad because her husband did pass away in 2021. And when you did see the videos and COVID and everything like that, she looked so sad. She looked so sad, so frail, just so lost. Yes, she lost her mother and sister, but she had her husband by her side. Now she lost her husband and she has nobody. She doesn't have her father, she doesn't have her mother, she doesn't have her only sibling, she has nobody. And you're like, well, she has her kids and this, and that. Yes, but she has nobody. She has nobody. Like, this woman has lived a long, long, long life, and she had an even long reign. And I think that says a lot. It says a lot. Throughout the duration of the crown, whenever Queen Elizabeth needed to confide with somebody, most of the time it was with her mother and sister. And to lose them back to back must have been a really trying time for her. Plus everything going on with the monarchy. Like I said, she was about to celebrate like her I forget which jubilee. I want to say it was her ruby jubilee. I might be lying. On the throne, ruby or golden, I can't remember. I want to say it was ruby. And she just lost her family because I believe she did her jubilee in March. March or February, I believe. But they died. Her mother and her sister died in February. It was very, very close, back to back around each other. You know what I mean? This woman, this mother, she continued being the reigning monarch for 20 more years until she just couldn't do it anymore. She literally, and I mean that, literally lived up to the speech she made on her 21st birthday, which they reference in the final episode when she goes back and forth battling with her other counterparts, Claire and I can't think of the name. It was Claire and Olivia. Claire and Olivia. The other two ladies who played the queen throughout the crown's duration, about whether or not she wants to give the crown. And she's like, I'm an old lady. Like, I have to give the crown. I'm very happy that Queen Elizabeth did not give it up because then I wouldn't have gotten to know the history of Queen Elizabeth. Yes, this is America, but still, women empower, women of empowerment, women in general. I'm fascinated by this because it's like, wow, you are really something because there was a time when women couldn't do this. It was frowned upon. It was just like, oh my God, like what? Queen Elizabeth the First. Come on now. Like it's just a lot was said. Even Queen Victoria. It was just so much. And those are only British reigning marks. I'm not even getting into other freaking countries because I don't really know other countries like that. I'm gonna be 1010% honest. You know what I mean? But it was nice to see it. And I mean, the whole episode, Princess Margaret's episode, that episode alone deserves an award for the actor's portrayal because it was just so sad. And even at one point, when she was with her mom, and she's like, mommy, because she thought like her mom was like had like taking her last breath, but she was still breathing. It was just so sad because just like you're just seeing all this sadness was plaguing her at the same time, and it just shattered my heart. And then later on in the episodes, you see her, she has to plan her funeral, and her husband's so happy to play her funeral, and She wasn't the song. She chose Sleep, Deary Sleep. It was in the final episode. I don't know how to play bagpipes. I don't know anything about Scottish people like that. But when they played that song, I just kind of just was just sitting there, and it was just so mellow when they played it, and it just hit different. It just hit different, guys. I can't explain it. It just hit different. You know what I mean? Um, Continuing on before I go down the rabbit hole and just show my emotions. Um, Although they do show William and Kate, it's not about them. You know what I mean? I always wondered once I heard they were going to portray how they met at university, like how does that play into the Queen's reign? Because that's what the crown's about. The crown is about Queen Elizabeth II. You know, they did a good job of portraying William and Harry and Kate and Charles and Camilla while still keeping an eye on the main focus, which was the Queen and everything she went through and endured during her 70-year reign. You know, it was a lot. Even like the whole Diana and Charles things, like, you know, yes, it was on a magazine cover, but what was going on behind the scenes? What was the Queen thinking? You know what I mean? And can I just point out, I don't think I pointed out in the first half, I just love the moments where she's like, I just want to think like a grandmother. I just want to be a grandmother for a second. I don't want to be the crown. I don't want to wear the crown. Like, she just wanted to think about her grandkids. It's like, what a nice little granny. So very clever, so very nice. You know what I mean? Um, Later on in a couple of the episodes, you also get to see Muhammad, who was Dodi's dad, speak out on allegations of Diana and Dodi being murdered. And then throwing in there that Diana was pregnant with Dodi's child, which was so random, it completely caught me off guard. Like, what? And you see him, and it's just like, at the end of the day, and they said it, I think they could have said it in a better way, but he was a grieving father. No parent wants to outlive their child. I have seen what somebody looks like when they outlive their child, and it's not pretty. They're sad. They're sad, and it's like, oh, but they have more kids. But I want all of them. I want all of them. And that was his firstborn. Dodi was his firstborn. So it was just really, really sad, really, really sad. And you know, they go over the basis of the case, and I pretty much covered it in the last, not last week, but 2 weeks up, two episodes ago, about their death. Like, they weren't wearing seatbelt. The driver, Henry, he was drunk. He was 2 times or 3 times over the legal limit in France, and he did not know how to handle the car. And they also state that he lost control of the car before it even went into the tunnel, and the paparazzi did play a role in it. But at the end of the day, it was a drunk man behind the wheel that led to the death of Princess Diana and Dodi Fayed. And that was sad. And it was also sad because you had to see, like, of course this gets brought up, and even now, like, I don't know if people are still investigating her death, but when people bring it up, it's like, do they still get sad? Like, do they not feel bad that they can't call each other? Like, if I couldn't call my sibling just to call my sibling, I'll be really sad. Especially, I feel like the way they grew up really close. You know, when you see the old videos of them with their mother and how they played together, you know, I just feel like, do they feel a little sad? Like, do they wish their wives got it together, or whatever the hell happened to, you know, really break them up? Like, do they ever, you know, wish that didn't happen? Because let's be real, William, Harry, and Kate were all, you know, they were like the trio of something at one time before Meghan ever came into the picture. So I mean, I'm not saying Megan's the problem, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? And I'm also, I don't want it to be like slander. I get that Megan is, she's biracial, you know what I mean? I don't think she's black, and I hate that people, oh, she's black, she's biracial. I think there's a huge difference. Whatever, how she gets looked at is different how black people who actually have dark skin get looked at. You know what I mean? She is black, but she does not get looked at as a black woman in America. Like, she's biracial. Look at biracial women. You know what I mean? You look at Tracy Ellis Ross, you think of her as a black woman, but at the end of the day, Tracy Ellis Ross is biracial. And then who is it? There's another freaking person, but I can't think of it at the moment. They look at her, freak. She's on Parks and Rec. If you know what I'm talking about, she's on Parks and Rec. Her dad is a famous musician. It's not Lionel Richie. Um, but yeah, she's looked at as a white woman because of it, and it's like you guys, it's like you're picking and choosing your race. You know what I mean? When it comes to biracial people, and I'm not blaming biracial people. It's society in general. They're like picking and choosing their race, and it's weird. You know what I mean? It's weird like that. I don't look at Meghan Markle as a black woman, but people are so quick to be like, "Oh, she's black, she's black, she's black, she's black, she's blackity black, black, black." Her mom is black. Hold up. That girl pressed her hair out more than Beyonce. Back up. Okay? All right. Let me go on before I go even more into it, because there's a difference, okay? But watching The Crown these past couple of years, seeing everything and learning a little bit about England history has taught me I could never be a queen. Never could I be a queen. There were so many times throughout the series where if I was in the queen's position, I would have most definitely said something. But that's not what the monarchy's supposed to do. You know what I mean? I've talked about it before. It's in season, I want to say season 2. Aberfan, when all those kids died in that mudslide, she took days to reply. Or it might be season 3. I don't remember. I think it was season 2, actually. It was season 2. I remember. She took days to say something. It's like, girl, couldn't have been me. I'd have been out there. Well, I don't know. I don't do grief really well. You know, and I don't do mass hysteria really good like that. But I would have been said something like, my condolences to the people of Great Aberfan for the losses. You know, like Ben said something. Or what was another case? Like with the whole prime minister. Yeah, I understand why she doesn't give her opinions on prime ministers and stuff like that. But I'm going to still say something. I'm going to still say something. Just a little, I'm not going to be too sly with it, but just don't say, look, just a little tidbit. You just got to say a little something and get over it. That's all you got to do. You know what I mean? There were so many times she wanted to do what she believed was right, but she also knew it was going to be taken the wrong way or the world wasn't ready for it yet. Case in point, when Margaret wanted to marry Peter Townsend, she wanted to allow it. You could tell she wanted to allow it. History to tell you she wanted to allow it. But at the time, the era they were living in, it was severely frowned upon. And that's why I also said Margaret chose to live this lifestyle. She could have, just, cut herself off from the royal family like her uncle, the Prince of Windsor? I don't know, something like that did. And because he was the king before Queen Elizabeth's father, and he abdicate the throne, he passed up the crown to marry Wallace Simpson, who was a divorcee, and that was really frowned upon on the church. And just, oh my god, that's just what, divorce? We don't believe in that over here. And you know what? I don't blame them, girl. I don't believe in divorce either. You with me to the end, okay? What do our vows say? Till death do us part. You going 6 feet under. I ain't ready to go yet. So what? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Bye bye. you know, Stuff like that. She, like I said also early on in the episode, she also had the internal battle on whether or not she should pass the crown to Charles while she's still alive. This is said to be untrue, and I personally would believe it because Queen Elizabeth, she did her service to her country. And it is known that Prince Charles at the time was very eager to wear the crown. He was very, very eager, and he's been technically on the throne for over a year now, and he still hasn't have a coronation. Well, no. I lied. He has have a coronation. They haven't changed like all the like the ribbons and the money. Like they're slow. They're slow. But I mean, what are you supposed to do when for 70 years you only know this one woman? You only change it as she ages. You know what I mean? It was different, But now that he got it, let's see how long he has it before William takes over, because Charles is old. Do y'all be seeing his sausage fingers? I know it's like a health concern. They said it was like a health thing, because I used to always look at it like, how do you fit rings on your finger? Like, oh my god, my hand is hurting looking at your hand, and I don't even have nothing on my fingers. That's how bad it be hurting. Like, you know what I mean? Um, in the last seconds of the final episode, you see Claire Foy, who played Queen Elizabeth in season 1 and season 2, and Olivia Colman, who played Queen Elizabeth in season 3, season 4, with Imelda Staunton, who played Queen Elizabeth for 5 and 6. standing, and Imelda standing in the middle, and Claire and Olivia are standing on the side of her. Bro, seeing that moment was a full circle moment. And there was another moment earlier on in the episode with all three of them. Like I said, the queen was having an internal battle, so those two ladies take part in it as well with Imelda. It just hit different because it's not just the end of a show. And even like the way she walks out the church and everything, and the coffin, oh my god, these people are fantastic at their job. Okay, these people are fantastic at their job. You know what I mean? It was literally a full circle moment. Like, I remember watching The Crown, and the first episode when she's like trying on the crown and everything like that. It was just it. Like I said, it's not just the end of only a show, but it draws an end to the second Elizabethan age. Queen Elizabeth II died in 2022, and although many people hate the way certain events unfolded in The Crown or were portrayed, or why should this be reacted, why is this important, people who just love giving their opinions. I do believe, it not only did her justice with her life, but with her reign, because she did reign for 70 years. And when she did pass away, people said that we probably won't see another queen in our lifetime on the British throne. And it's like, honestly, not in my lifetime. And then it's like, maybe in my kids lifetime, but it's like, you never know. You know what I mean? We still have yet to see a female president in America. Like, it's just something that's so huge. She oh my god, what am I trying to say? She sat for, I want to say, like 30 something presidents. I can't remember. And she had a number of vice presidents. My favorite one was, of course, Winston Churchill, because it was just like, like, how cool. You know what I mean? She met 13 out of the 14 presidents. I believe Biden. She didn't meet Biden. I believe that's the one she didn't meet. She met 13 presidents over her 70 years, and she saw, she's like Hitler. Or no. I think her mother saw Hitler. Like, I think Hitler said something about her mom, like, that woman's a dangerous woman. She was labeled the most dangerous woman in Europe or something. Like, she met Jackie Kennedy. She met JFK. Like, she met the Clintons. She met Ronald Reagan. Like, she was that girl. She met the Obamas. Like, she was everything. Nixon. Like, she met them. Her reign spawned over so many wars, and not just British history, just world history. Like, she was there. She was alive for it all. And I think that's something that will always be there. And that is very, very much so. And I think if there's one thing I've taken away from The Crown, is just that, if I worked in production and I had a chance to do this, I don't think I could do it justice the way they did it, because it was just too good, y'all. Like, it was just too good. You know what I mean? It was just too good. If you guys haven't watched The Crown season 6 part 2, you can watch the entire series of The Crown from episode 1, season 1, to the very, very end, and the last episode in season 6, as it's all out now, streaming on Netflix. But before I close out this episode, I will not be releasing another episode until January 11th. So I do hope you guys have a happy holidays and happy New Year's from me and Delilah. I also want to wish my little sister a happy 12th birthday. I love you. And to my oldest male friend, Richard, happy 24th. I had originally put 23rd, so I guess I'm still technically a bad friend because I didn't know how old he was going to be. But whatever. I'm not even that young. I love you, but you are old. This year, it has been a long, long, it's been a long year, but I learned a lot about myself. And I also learned about what I want for myself in the future. I know many people hate it, but sometimes you need to reflect on the year just like you reflect on the end of the day when you get home and you take that deep breath. I think it's important for us to do because it just helps with our sanity. I like binge watching shows. I like doing this podcast. I like doing what I do because it's somewhat therapeutic to me. And I do like the feedback I get. May not be a lot, but I do like it. My nails are clicking, my bad. I do like it, and I think it's a lot. I know for me, I have a solid New Year's resolution, and I hope I stick with it. I have some what's the word? I have some things I hope I bring into the new year and continue to do on and on and on and on, just to be the great woman that I know I am and I'm destined to be. And yeah, I think it's a lot, and I hope you guys, reflect on it. You don't have to make a New Year's resolution. Just look back at your year 2023. What did you accomplish? What did you do? What are you proud of? How, if you could change it, how would you change it? And just step into the new year with just, peace, love, and happiness. That's all I could ever ask for from anybody. And I want that to be known. So, as always, thank you guys for tuning in and listening to the Review for Few podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe down below to keep up with the views, and feel free to show some love or hate. I don't care, by commenting as well. And as always, happy listening, y'all.